Hey guys, I want to go ahead and talk about converting a quadratic into vertex forms. A lot of times your teacher's going to ask you to change this guy and ask you to graph it. Well, if you notice here, it's a little bit difficult to factor this guy out and find the x-intercepts. And actually these guys are going to actually be decimals for the x-intercepts. You notice that we can't factor this out. So what we have to do is we're going to go ahead and change it into vertex form. And what is vertex form? Well, vertex form just says that we can go ahead and write it. We have our a, which is a constant out on the outside, x minus h to the power of 2, and plus k. So these two here, these are my vertex. Okay, so the vertex usually is just your h and your k. Now remember, this guy inside here is going to move it left or right. The k, whether it's positive or negative, depending, is going to move it up or down. So what I want to do is go ahead and change this, convert this guy into vertex form. And what you're going to do is you're going to complete the square. All right, so if you guys see me do this, that means complete the square. And what I have to do, there's one rule in completing the square. There cannot be a constant in front of the x squared. And I'll go ahead and do another one just to show you what that looks like. But the first thing I wanted to go ahead and do is move this guy out here, okay? And let me have x squared minus 4x. Now this guy is going to move. I'm going to move him out to the side, that positive 2. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the half of the middle term. So minus 4, I'm going to put plus. Minus 4 is half of negative 4, is negative 2. And we're going to square that guy. Okay. And I'm just going to put parentheses here just to keep this separate. Now, notice what I did. I added over here a negative 2 to the second power on the right. So I have to add the same on the left. Okay. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put negative 2, parentheses squared. F of x is the same thing as y. So if you want to leave it f of x, that's fine. You can go also with y. Now, how do you do this? Well, this guy now becomes factorable. Okay, and what you do, pretty simple. All you do is take this x here, take this over here. Now notice what's in front, what's inside the parentheses. It's a minus 2, so we're going to put minus 2 to the second power. Now this is you can say it's a shortcut way of doing it. Now if you don't understand it, let me go over here and show you why. When you evaluate this, simplify this, you're going to get x squared minus 4x plus 4. And this is what becomes factored. So if you guys know how to factor x and x, factors of 4 that add up to negative 4, well, negative 2 and negative 2. You cross multiply, x times negative 2 is negative 2x, x times negative 2 is negative 2x. Whoops, look at that, negative 4x, and that's what I wanted. And since these are my factors, and we have 2 of them, you would write x minus 2 quantity squared. Okay, but instead of doing all of this all the time, you just notice I take one from here, boom, I'm done. Okay, now that I have this, I can go ahead and simplify it further. Negative 4 squared is 4 plus y equals x minus 2 quantity squared plus 2. I'm going to minus 4 on both sides, and I'll go ahead and simplify that. Remember, anytime you jump this equal sign, it becomes a negative. So plus 2, this positive form becomes a minus 4. Therefore, now you have y equals x minus 2 squared. 2 minus 4 is negative 2. Now this guy becomes a lot easier to graph on your paper. If you notice, the vertex is going to be positive 2 and negative 2. All right, and hopefully that helps you guys. All right, let me go ahead and do another one, a little bit more complicated with a constant in the front. All right, guys, let's go ahead and do this one. And you notice we have this 3 here in the front. Okay, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to complete the square. But remember, the first rule in completing the square is we cannot have that constant. Let's go ahead and write this out. Y is equal to 3x squared minus 12x. Let's move this guy out. Now let's move him out here. Let's put minus 3. Now you notice we have 3x squared minus 12x. This right here, I'm going to factor out a 3. Take out a 3, and I'm left with x squared minus 4x. Okay? Now let me make some room because I'm going to complete the square. Then I have my minus 3 out here. All right. Now we do the same process. We take half of the middle, half of negative 4. Now notice I'm going to put plus. I always put plus. Half of negative 4 is negative 2, quantity squared. Now notice, what did I add over here on the right? Negative 2 squared. Okay. So on the left, I also have to add negative 2 quantity squared. But notice, this 3 is being multiplied by everything on the inside. So what do? Multiply it by 3. All right. So now I can go ahead and evaluate it. Simplify it. I have my 3 as a constant. Now I take one of the x's. I take this minus 2, square it, minus 3. What does this become? Well, negative 2 squared is a positive 4 times 3 is 12. I go ahead and clean it up. X minus 2, and then this positive 12, I take him across the equal sign, he becomes a negative 12. Therefore now y is equal to 3 times x minus 2 squared minus 15. Alright, and then I can go ahead and graph it very easily, very simply. My vertex, well, that's going to be positive 2 and negative 15. And that's how you convert a quadratic into vertex form. Hopefully that helps, guys.